All right, so Gabe Tejada.
Yes, sir.
I practice that because I always say Tejada.
Tejada. Thank you for that. They be spelling my name wrong on tournaments and be pissing me off.
Owner and operator of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu Miami. You opened in 2021, right?
2020.
2020, right in COVID.
Dude, 2 months before the pandemic. We opened in January. I think everything shut down in May. Yeah.
Around March, May, around there.
Yeah, we opened at the end of January. Yep.
Bro, but it's still open, so you got it through.
Yeah, we survived, thank God.
You got it. We weren't really paying attention to the rules anyways. The jiu-jitsu people.
No, I'll be honest, man. I was very grateful. Like, it's funny. I used to get a lot of flack because the name is 10th Planet Miami, but it's in Broward. And
I mean,
you say
okay.
that, but people, bro, I got like hate mail. Like, it was crazy. I'm not even kidding. Like, I would tell people, like, bro, the Giants don't even play in New York. Why are you coming at me? Like,
that's true.
But people, they're territorial about that Miami name, and I can't blame them. I'm not mad at them, but it was a little bit of harassment.
Yeah, I mean, Broad's right there. Miami's, and
exactly.
To be honest, I remember when I was a blue belt, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was around 2000. It's got to be 2012.
Okay.
Right. And I wanted to cross train, but there was no 10th Planet in the Miami or Broward area. I think at that time. And everybody was looking for like a 10th Planet or no-gi space because a lot of them were traditional Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I think you were one of the first to open no-gi, right?
I believe.
We'll say South Florida so we don't get
I was the first in South Florida. Jacksonville precedes me.
Okay.
Yeah, it was me, then it was Jacksonville. Then I believe it was St. Pete after me. And then came Pompano, Palm Beach, and now Boca Raton. So it's like 6 of, and Orlando. Yeah. And Orlando as well. Shout out to Ben Saunders.
Because you had, at least in the Miami area, there wasn't really schools that were no-gi focused. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's it called? Man, there was one school that I used to come down and train with often. Brain farting right now.
That's okay. That's how I live my life, bro.
Yeah. They're still around though. They're in South Miami.
It's not Mortalis, is it?
No, it precedes Mortalis. But yeah, now Mortalis is a very heavy no-gi school as well.
Yeah. I think they were the ones that told me that you started the no-gi, and then they came in right after.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the first for sure 100% no-gi school. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But there were a few other schools that were heavy on the no-gi side as well.
Dude, but you hit a spot that was like a great place to start no-gi.
Yeah. So like, to kind of circle back to the whole COVID thing, I was happy that I opened up in Broward. Right. Because they were way more lax than Dade was. A lot of businesses ended up shutting down in Dade because of the COVID restrictions, Broward didn't really care. At least Pembroke Pines didn't, So in that regard, it was serendipitous that we opened up over there, Because we were shut down, I believe, for 3 weeks, and then I was like, screw it. We're going to black the windows, secret knock through the back door, and we just went along our business. Yeah, man, straight up. And it's awesome because the people that came through in that era, in that early era, are my go-to people still. For sure. Like Estella, Alex, Mike, Anthony, Martin, like, 4 of those are black belts now. Martin's a brown belt. Yeah. And like, they're still around, and a few other people speckled in there that are still, like that core crew, you know? Like, it cemented the people that I'm like, they're going to be around forever.
Dude, that hardship has to create some sort of camaraderie. 100%. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, there's doing like, we're going to go through the back door or whatever, and just knowing it's kind of a risk there, but you're all taking that risk together. It creates that camaraderie. So it makes sense that those are your go-to guys now, what I mean?
There's a meme, it's funny, there's a meme from an old coach of mine that like went super viral in the jiu-jitsu community, and he just started as a joke, but it's him like poking out the front door of the academy looking like a speakeasy, and it says, "Where were you during COVID?" and it rings so true now. Like, where were you during COVID? Were you at home or was you training still,
Yeah, people were training for sure.
100%. A lot of people were out here. A lot of people were out here.
Especially here.
Up north, it was rough, man.
That's what I heard.
A lot. I mean, you
like
saw like big names like Gary Tona had to close down because the overhead was so big and they lost people, Yeah. When you saw that as an academy owner, I was nervous. But I was grateful that, like, my crew stuck around. And even people that they were like, listen, I can't train. I'm a little scared, but I'm not going to quit. I was like, thank you.
Dude, and that you had a good group of people that were training there too, because it's not only like the restrictions that you had as an academy owner, it's also a lot of people were losing their fucking jobs.
Yeah, man.
So it's like maybe they want to be there.
That was the biggest thing. People moving away.
Yeah.
A scary one was the amount of people that live in efficiencies, you know, and like the owners were just like, "You gotta go because my brother lost his job," or like I'm moving my mom back home. That happened to a lot of people that train with me. Like I lost one of my like core guys. Shout out to Brandon if he sees this. He's in North Carolina now. Like he figured it out, you know. He got his life together and things went well for him, but he had to move back in with his parents because
a lot of people did.
Yeah, like the owner of his efficiency was like, "You gotta go, man. Like my mom needs a place."
That's
and like you can't even blame him. Like that's his mom.
Put yourself in in that position. You have a house, you have a efficiency next door, and then somebody's living there. You don't know who they're interacting, and everybody's terrified at that time.
Man.
So like the back and forth, I get it, but it sucks for the other person too, man.
Yeah. Thank God that didn't happen. That's over.
Yeah, thank God.
And you know, I don't think people would put up with that again.
No, I don't think so.
Fingers crossed. Like,
it'd be rough.
Yeah, so, man.
Let's get started on like we covered your academy a little bit, but I want to get into how you got into martial arts and how did you get to where you are right now? Because you have a bunch of stuff, man. You have finishers too, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, finishers MMA, the finishers tournament. We're bringing that back soon.
That's right.
You know, shout out to my mentor Zach Maslany. He's the head of the finishers empire. I mean, martial arts for me is like a family legacy. My father's a martial artist. My brother's a martial artist. I got a lot of other family members as well that were martial artists. My uncle's a judo black belt. He's a big inspiration, you know? Oof. My dad's a kung fu black belt. From an era where kung fu was still kung fu, you know, like the 60s. You know, they instilled that in the younger generation, just the love of it, you know, even just through movies and pop culture and stuff.
The Bruce Lee movies and all that.
Exactly. You know, my dad still to this day worships Bruce Lee.
I kind of still watch the movies too, bro.
Yeah, who doesn't?
To be honest, bro, I like the movies.
If you don't, you're a fake martial artist. No, I started Taekwondo when I was a little kid. And then after Taekwondo, I got into boxing. After boxing, I got into Muay Thai. And
you're a striker, bro.
Yeah, I was a striker. My brother's still a striker. Like that's you know, the tradition in the family. But I got in a fist fight when I was 17. And the kid boxed as well. I'm from an area in Pennsylvania where boxing is super popular, you know? Philly, Lehigh Valley area.
Yeah.
More specifically the Lehigh Valley. I lived in Philly when I was a little older. It's kind of like if you from like the lower Broward area, you just say Miami to northern people because they don't know. They don't know like Lauderhill or something like that.
Right.
Most people don't know Allentown. You know, some people do.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's the third biggest city in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But it's, you know, I tend to just tell people Philly. I did live in Philly for a long time. Like that's where I was ranked up through Daniel Gracie because my mentor, Zach, wasn't a black belt at the time, and I landed a job out of college in Philly, so I had to move away, you know? Like, it's just the things of life. And I trained in Hensel Gracie, Philadelphia for a long time.
And that's Daniel Gracie?
Daniel Gracie, yeah, but it was called Hensel Gracie Philly.
Okay.
But, you know, I got in a fight with a kid who boxed, and funny enough, this scar just opened up in training. But it was from that kid. He gave with a freaking mean left hook, cracked me right in the eye. But I thankfully won the fight, you know? But we were trying to kill each other in an alleyway behind my house over a misunderstanding.
That's what I was going to ask.
What
happened?
It was so stupid, bro. Like, you could throw a rock and hit a girl named Jasenia in that area because it's a very common Puerto Rican name. And he had a cousin named Jasenia. My ex had a problem with a girl named Jasenia. It ended up not being the same girl. Yeah, like, and we were trying to murder each other over this stupid misunderstanding that if we had just sat down and had a conversation, we could have avoided. That's a lesson, right? Like, use your words. But point being, after that, I didn't feel safe, you know? Like, I thought I had hands. So did he. So I'm like, I need to learn something else. And that was around the era, this is 2007.
Okay.
I was 17 at the time.
Yeah, that's right out of UFC 2005 was like coming out.
So there was a big MMA gym in the area. I signed up and I started training jiu-jitsu, you know? And down the line, that's where I met Zach Maslany because he approached the owner like, hey, I'd love to run the jiu-jitsu program because it was a humongous gym. I mean, this guy he's just a Penn State graduate who was a decent wrestler with an amateur record, and he just invested his life savings in this massive facility.
Time to do it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge. He had a weight facility, a ring, 2 matted rooms. You know, it was huge. It was something I'd never seen before at the time.
Which is a little uncommon for that
in that era, there was nothing like that.
Yeah, right. You had to go here to train jiu-jitsu,
exactly.
here to train boxing.
You had to travel everywhere which way to find like a real guy.
Dude,
you know?
got lucky, bro.
I really did. The closest gym to that was Hensel Gracie, Pennsylvania, which was 45 minutes away.
Okay.
So I started training there. Shout out to Rodney Gugnier. He's a great guy. And Zach showed up, started running the jiu-jitsu program, and the rest is history. Like I became a 10th planet, like, you know, zealot.
Wait, I'm a little confused. So you started at Daniel Gracie's?
No, I started at Rodney Gugnier's. It was called Hammer MMA. That's when I was 17.
Okay.
Eventually I went to college, but I was still training with Zach Maslany. I was still driving home to, you know, train there.
Yeah.
And out of college, I landed a job in Philly.
Okay,
and that's where
I got it. Sorry, I need a little bit.
But I was like a 5-year white belt because Zach couldn't rank me. He couldn't rank anyone. He was
probably like a blue belt?
He was a blue belt at the time, you know? He was traveling to LA to train under Eddie.
Yeah.
And he'd bring the knowledge back home but you know, you're not gonna rank anybody as a blue belt.
I mean, you can't.
And I didn't, you know, other gyms had popped up in the area, but I was a zealot. Like I wasn't going nowhere. But eventually, you know, you gotta pay bills and stuff. Right. I landed a job in a law firm. I took the job.
Obviously. Yeah, you got to. Out of college? Hell yeah.
Yeah, like maybe a year out of college, and I started training under Daniel Gracie.
Yeah.
And I would still drive home, and the Bethlehem guys would drive up and train in Philly. Shout out to Daniel Gracie, and he gave me my blue belt within 5 years. I'm a brown belt because I was already.
You already did like half a year.
Exactly. He'd always call me a sandbag out of a joke. Like he'd be like, "Sandbag." That was my nickname in the gym, and I'm like, "It's not my choice, dude." Like.
That's I didn't think about the timeline of black belt when you said I'm a 5-year black belt. I'm like, well, it took in my head when you said it took him a little time.
Yeah.
But now that you mention it again, I'm like, dude, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, man.
That's
it took me
halfway
12 years to get my black belt because.
So you jumped through because it was 5. You went to blue. You were in blue for. Did you compete?
I did.
Did you smash him, motherfucker?
I know. I was doing more no-gi competitions, so I would compete in intermediate expert. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't really compete much in the gi.
Yeah.
Until I actually got my blue belt. Then I started competing in the gi again. I competed in the gi almost all the way through brown belt, and then that's when the no-gi culture just took off.
Yeah.
And I started trying to make money, and
Dude, but that's a good mix of jiu-jitsu gyms, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Gracie
100%. I mean, dude, I got a picture that I love to show off where I'm sitting next to Paul Felder. Sean Brady's in that picture. Daniel Kelly standing behind me. Like the stable at that time was insane. The names that have come out of there. Pat Sabatini, like he's still killing it.
Yeah, dude. Wow, I heard that name in a minute.
Murderers row in that room every day, dude.
Bro.
Yeah, man, it was an experience.
Was in that room too?
Yeah, man. He hates jiu-jitsu, but he's a striker through and through. But he was in there putting in work, man, and he's good at it. He's good at it. He just never developed the love for it.
So when did you decide to dedicate yourself in terms of because you went to college, you wanted to pursue a career.
Yeah, man.
So was in your mind this jiu-jitsu is where it's at?
It's funny that life kind of if you really love something, and I know. There's someone out there that's gonna look at me like, yeah, because it worked out for you, you know? Just give it time, give it faith and give it dedication. I used to wake up at 6 a.m. to go lift weights, do an 8-hour shift, plus the commute in Philly, and then drive, train 6 to 9:30 at night and do it the next day all over again, And I was like a little fly in Daniel's ear and Zach's ear constantly, to the point where they would take me to the blue basement. I was just tagging along, and I got to train with all the killers.
Oh, so you went to that's New York, right?
Yeah, man. It was a great experience, a great come up because of the fact that I was just full on dedicated. I knew that's what I wanted to do. There just wasn't really an avenue yet.
That's true. Yeah.
Especially when you have Caribbean parents that are you gotta make money. You know what I mean?
I get that, dude.
How was this gonna have a 401k where the benefits?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu's cool, but also 401k. Where's your Roth IRA? What are you doing?
And you get a little indoctrinated into that. You feel like that's the right way to go, and something's wrong with me that I want to do something else.
Yeah, you get black sheeped a little bit when you want to do
exactly.
Pursue something that's not in the traditional route of a doctor or a lawyer. Especially when you're being, which is a great way to raise kids. I'm not saying anything because my parents are the same way. But as soon as you start getting a little creative, the Hispanic community,
it's scary to people that love you.
Yeah.
When you're a parent,
which rightfully so. Dude.
Exactly. When you're a parent, you finally forgive them. You understand. Before you kind of hold a little resentment,
That's
you
so
didn't believe in me. you know, but there's a reason why. Because your parents probably had dreams.
Yeah.
And they don't want you to feel the pain that they probably felt when that, you know, maybe when you were born or your older brother, or like life forced them to give that up.
Yeah.
Now as I get older and I have those conversations with them and they like break it down as humans, like you're just like, damn, I just want to say I'm sorry. You know, like, shit.
That was a dickhead.
Yeah, man. But like, you know, I lost my train of thought there where I was in the story.
No, we're good. We're talking about you're training at Daniel Gracie, and you used to wake up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah. So life kind of, I don't want to say forced me. Life opened closed the right doors, you know? I got fired from the
Was it because of training?
Because of training. Like I would be on YouTube looking up, like my quota was in the dumps. Like I hated that job. It was a soulless, you know, it was a horrible gig. And yeah, like I got fired and like.
Yeah, lawyers aren't gonna fuck around if you're on YouTube. No.
They straight up told me like, you're just not doing your job. You gotta go. Like they made no qualms about it. And I was just like, well, like I have no excuse. Like
I can't argue it.
Yeah, caught me. Like, and it's so crazy that I walked into Daniel's that day with every intention of telling him like, this is my last month because I gotta move back in with my parents. Wow. Like I have no other prospects.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing him slam shit in his office like, you can't get no help. Like, fuck, I need a kids coach. I'm like,
well, you know,
funny enough. And he just hired me on the spot. And there was a fighter's quarters upstairs. I was living there rent free. He's paying me $400 a month. And I was, you know, teaching private lessons.
Yeah, but you had a place to stay.
Exactly.
You could train whenever you want.
75 feet from the gym. Like, this is the dream, dude.
Bro, that's... Yeah. At that time?
This was like 2014, 2015
Like, when you heard
era.
about that type of, like, fighter's course, you were thinking about, like, Faraza Hobby, like, his academy, like, TriStar.
There's nothing but crazy Brazilians in there. Jonathan Webb, shout out to Jonathan Webb. I'm living with him. Like, it was great. It was a great experience. But then eventually, there was a dude in the gym that he was working alongside me who was, like, kind of stealing money from the gym. And because of that, Daniel had to pay out of pocket a lot of the bills. He didn't tell nobody, but eventually it got too hard and he told me straight up, like, I can't pay you this month, you know? And I didn't have no savings.
Yeah.
So life did force me back home, you know?
Okay.
But at that point, Zach and them were black belts. And they were like, we need help. So dude, what the fuck? It's literally like one door shuts and the other one just opens, dude, you know? So
somebody wanted you in this industry, like, man. Hard.
And from that point forward, I was just with them. And I stayed, you know, teaching at 10 Planet Bethlehem, which by that point was the biggest facility in the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah.
The most reputable one on top of that.
That makes sense, yeah.
And, you know, I've been with them since the ground floor. Like, that's my brother. He's the godfather of my son. Like,
oh, bro, it's
I was basically the sixth man off the bench, you know, because you got Zach, you got, at that time, John Michael Holland, you got Grace Gundrum, you got Thor, Thor Blank, you got Renee Souza, like... Yeah, man, like, it was, again, murderers row. And I was blessed to be in that room with those guys for years by that point, you know? And eventually I got in a position where I was teaching, you know, a very wealthy angel investor. And I pitched him one day, like, here's my business plan. And he's like, let's do it. And I could have opened up anywhere, but I wanted it to be somewhere with palm trees and sun. So I came down here, and that's how you know what?
You chose Miami, which, like, if you're in Philly, you think two locations. I assume that you think two locations. You think Cali, and you think Miami.
Yeah, man.
Bro, that choice to Miami was a solid one.
Yeah, man. You know I agree. I don't regret it at all. I don't regret it at all. People are like, yo, you're going up against Fight Sports and them. And I'm like, yeah, but we sell a different product.
100%.
You know, like, and it was the case. Like, it was never a competition thing. I've sat across, you know, from Wagner and you know, Cyborg and all their coaches, and it's always love. Like, they know it's competition. Like, it's not the same. Like, it's very, you know, they have the gi. I'm straight no gi. It's different. You know?
Yeah, I think it is different. It's also like that. There's a 10th planet. When it comes to 10th planet, there's also a cultural thing that's tied to it. You know what I mean? I think all these major gyms that have major schools, there's a cultural component to it, right? Man. And I think that bro, maybe one doesn't work for you. You go to another one. You find the one that fits. You're competing in terms of sense of, if you think about it business wise.
Yes,
you're
but
competing
I don't even look at it as business. Like, we compete on the mat for sure, but business wise, again, like you said, I feel like the culture's so different. We don't attract the same people.
Yeah.
You know, it's very different. It's very different, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
You know, South Florida is huge. Everybody can eat.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the bigger reasons why I moved down here too. Like, I knew it was gonna blow up, and man, did it after the pandemic. Like,
yeah, dude.
It's almost like unbearable.
Did you get like a huge surge of like the first people to sign up? Because I'm assuming there was a lot of people looking for 10th Planet, like I was.
Yeah.
Back in the day, to like go at least cross train at a 10th
I thought I made it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, when we first opened up, I needed like 32 people to pay my rent.
Yeah. To break even.
For what I was charging at the time, and I had like 87 students before I opened.
What the fuck?
I was like, I made it, bro. But then 2 months later, the pandemic hit, and I'm down to 36 students. I'm like, by the skin of my teeth, dude. Like,
dude, but you had like, you got fired, then you got into this academy, then you moved to the other academy like the same day.
Yeah.
And then you open, you have 87. You lose you go to 36. So you're barely making it, dude. That's you've got to like really
roller coaster.
Really
and all for the love of jiu-jitsu. So like I said, don't give up faith, because it's gonna test you, dude. Like anything else, I feel like anything is like that.
Yeah.
Like anything that you truly love, any pursuit of like true passion, life's gonna be like, okay, let's see how bad you are.
Yeah, how bad you are? How fast you passionate? It's cool. Yeah, we'll see.
But like, if you really like, man, I forget the name of this. Stephen Pressfield.
Okay.
The War of Art. It's like a play on the art of war.
Yeah. I haven't read the
Man, that book is so good, dude.
It's about like the music. You have to sit down and do the work, and it will come.
Sit down and do the work. There's a chapter where he talks about like giving like a real sacrifice. Like something that like life knows if it's a faux sacrifice. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not truly giving your all. Like, to the outside world, they'll be like, man, that guy's really dedicated. But you know, you're still withholding a little.
Yeah.
That's when it gets snatched away, you know? And it'll happen right in front of you until you're like, oh, I gotta dive. I gotta give myself fully again,
really
you know?
Discipline. Do you think that, like, but I think when it comes to like dedication or discipline, your capacity is at X, right? But then you start to hit that X rooftop and then expands a little bit more.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yes, truly, it really does.
I think that the capacity of discipline is something that can be grown, and especially when you know you're giving like 80%. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm doing it, but I can rest here. And then, like you said, life happens, something happens, take it away for a second, kind of scary, and you go back to 100. There's a point that you're like, I feel like I can do a little bit more, do a little bit better, and that continues to grow.
It really does. So talk about fatherhood. We were talking about fatherhood, man. Bro. Does that expand your capacity for discipline? Like, because it's not you no more. You know? 100%.
Dude, it's so crazy, because when you walked in, we were talking about like that moment when you realize that you're a parent, you're the adult.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? That change that you're an adult, and then you have to watch out for these kids and make sure that they make the right decision and stuff. Your anxiety level, I guess you would call your anxiety level for them to do well in life is really high, right?
Yeah.
You do everything that your life changes, your perspective changes on what's important and what's not, and you want them to do the right thing. So it's sometimes I feel like we can fall into that place that what our parents did, and we don't want to cut off your
Yes, I agree.
Kind of be aware, like trying to be aware of that is tough. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. I think what helps is talking about it a lot.
Yeah.
Me and my fiance are constantly talking about that.
Yeah,
we're constantly like we want to like be aware of the type of parent that he perceives us as.
Right.
You know, I feel like our parents never had time to think about that.
Yeah, they didn't.
Survival mode. You know. Like,
they work hard, do what I gotta do. I gotta provide these more
exactly,
which is for that time frame. That's what was required.
What it took.
That's what it was required.
Yeah, right? I agree. But now that they put us in a position that we have a little more time than them, we owe it to the next generation to like try to curb some of that trauma. You know,
I loved how you put that. Like, they put us in the position.
100%. Their sacrifice definitely. Like, my business is only alive because my father worked 2 jobs to put my mom through school, and then she busted her ass with her degree to put him through school. Like, the sacrifices that they made put them in a position to allow me and my brother to get educated and become the men that we became, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's dominoes. Like, I wouldn't have, you know, the understanding of like, okay, maybe I can do this, you know, the faith in myself, you know, intellectually to be able to handle a business, you know? Like, and even now, like, my dad is 72 and there's nails and mats and pictures and everything that were laid with his hands, you know, like in the gym, he's in there.
Dude, those dads are different, like that
different
age of
breed.
dad, they're a different breed of
Different breed. I gotta
dads,
kick him out sometimes. I'm like, you're not gonna be able to walk tomorrow. Like, dude, go home.
Yeah, they don't stop. My dad's like that, dude. My dad is very, very hardworking, very loving father. I had a great upbringing, but bro, like just for this door, like the door that we're replacing right now.
Yeah.
I tried to put it up myself.
He's like, where is this?
And I was like, I don't fucking think I'm doing this wrong. And my dad comes in, he's like, I got offensive. I know what I'm doing. And he's like, okay. They just know how to do shit. They were just.
It doesn't make sense.
And that's being lost a little bit, don't you think?
It feels lost.
Like
I agree.
In this generation,
yes.
that like.
I totally agree.
And
I totally agree.
I feel like it's kind of our age fault that we're a little bit too. I don't want to say soft, but like.
It's
not let them like get their hardship in.
You know? Yeah, it's the cost of a growing society.
Okay.
You know, like we had a different upbringing than them.
Yeah.
You know, my dad's from El Campo. Like, you had to know how to do everything.
It's true.
You know, there wasn't a locksmith. There wasn't, you know, like, he had to wake up.
Campo in Santo Domingo?
Santiago.
In Santiago,
Dominican Republic. His town is called, I love to say it in English because it gives you an idea of how country. San Jose of the Trees. San Jose de la Mata.
You're just farms.
I remember in like 96 when they were building power lines. So they could have
for that area,
so they could have electricity. Like,
Jesus,
like that's how country that place is. It's very famous because like it has a culture for cowboys, like real like dope. Country cowboys. Like it's dope. And now that it's like developed more, you know, it's become a little bit of a tourist attraction because it's beautiful.
Yeah,
like rolling mountains and hills and.
Dude, there's something to say about those like areas in Santo Domingo. I'm from Puerto Rico, so like it's kind of similar
same
culture.
Thing, bro. Yeah.
I like going like everybody. The beaches are nice.
Yeah.
But you go to El Campo, you get that silence, bro.
It's different. My best friend's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
He got married in some ranch in the middle of Puerto Rico.
It's great.
It looked like Hyrule.
Like what?
Like Zelda.
Okay.
Where he's like, dude, like it was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I didn't want to leave, dude. It was great. I love Puerto Rico.
All right, let's go back to what we were talking about societies evolving.
Yeah, they had to know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm assuming your parents are from Puerto Rico. Like, you know.
Yeah.
It's different. Like when you grow up, I grew up mostly in New York. Like early on, I was in Queens. And I was in a building, and my grandfather's the super. So like, if the toilet goes out, abuelo comes to fix it. Like,
hey, go get this.
Exactly. Like, I didn't have to learn to do any of those things that my dad already knew how to do. Like, my grandfather taught him how to do those things. You know, like I saw it building the gym. Like my dad, like.
They just know shit.
Dude, he does like engineering things that I wouldn't even like. How do you know? Like I don't. Like I could never figure it out. Like I just know how to do things now, but I don't know why they work. I just know how to do them because he did them. Like,
bro, like sometimes I try to put shit together. Like I can fix. Fucking, that's me, bro.
That's funny, dude.
That's my doing. Do you see it fucking?
Yeah. I feel that though.
You see it? No, it's not there.
Yeah.
He put those on, but these motherfuckers, that was me, bro. I had one.
Nah, dude. I feel like also another thing is like our fathers were. At least my dad, in my experience, and I feel like a lot of Caribbean parents are this way, they had to become the alpha young. And it's hard for them to let that go, you know? So like, a lot of times, like I'm trying to figure stuff out under the hood, and my dad's like, muévete, yo lo hago, because he just runs out of patience. And then I never learned how to do it, because he just does it. And it's the same thing with like, say I'm fixing the door, and I'm trying to figure it out. It took a little too long for his liking. Muévete, coño. I'm just like, oh.
Dude, but I kind of understand that when it comes to like there's also like I have 4 kids right now. When I want to fix something unsuccessfully, right?
Yeah.
Or when I want to try to fix something, there's also, and you want to get them involved, but it's not getting done at the rate that you want. So you're like,
I feel like that's one of the things as a parent that I'm gonna really try to let go of.
Yeah.
Because I want to teach him. Like I tend to notice that now in myself is the lack of patience, and it's like I'm just being my parents, dude. Like, You know, like you have those little realizations, and it's like
you say things that they say.
Yes, and I'm like, I don't want to pass that on.
Right.
And no disrespect or shade of my parents. I love them. They're great people.
No, but I get what you're saying.
Yes, there is admittedly things about myself that like I just don't want to like. I can curb that. Yeah. You know, I can nip that now, and that's one of those things, the lack of patience.
Yeah.
But if you knew my grandfather, and I had the blessing to grow up with him until I was like, he died when I was like 22. Okay. I was pretty old when I was already a grown man. My grandfather was an alpha. Like, if it was getting done, he was doing it. You know, he wasn't asking nobody for help. Like,
I'm doing it.
He commanded the room.
When he walked in, everybody, oh, he's here.
He was the alpha, you know? And like, this man had like 300 people at his freaking funeral, you know? Like, all with personal stories of like how he changed their life. Like,
impressionable.
Exactly. So I understand why my dad has no patience and why I have that in me, you know? It's just like, and again, I never thought of that until I had a kid.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. You know, like.
And there's also going to be stuff that they're going to say about us, hopefully, right? Like, what I always tell, there's two things that I always tell my kids is like, I don't want to teach you what to think, I want to teach you how to think.
Yes.
And the second one is like, my goal in life is to make you better than I am in whatever it is in your eyes.
100%.
Whatever you think that I have good, I want you to make you better at it.
Yeah, man.
And then I'm just here to kind of guide you a little bit.
Exactly. Guide is the word, man.
Guiding is the word.
Guide is the word. Guide is the word.
It's a rewarding experience, but it is work.
Yeah, man.
It's great. It's the most important job that we have right now as parents.
100%.
You know what I mean? Raising kids to make sure that they're functional and but also happy, bro.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
Attaining happiness, it seems to be fleeting.
Yeah.
I think social media has to do with that as well.
100%.
Like, people keep comparing themselves and all that shit.
Societal factors. Again, it all comes down to that. Like, I think that's a good point. Like, I often ask her, what is social media and like just the things that they're into, what are they going to look like in 10, 12 years when it's going to be almost impossible to keep him off a tablet because now he has an opinion, you know? Like what's that going to look like? Holographic? 3D?
Dude,
like,
I'm so worried about like,
exactly,
I'm so
dude,
worried,
like,
I'm so worried that they already have so much access to information that, which is good for what they want to learn.
So then that brings back something that you talked about, right? Like happiness. Right? Like guiding them to be happy.
Right.
Like that changes with society because
that's true.
Yes, my grandfather was a hard man and like direct and like, you know, commandeering, but he was one of the happiest human beings I ever met in my entire life.
Yeah, bro.
Like just happy in his soul. Like content with himself, you know, like he died happy. I can truly say that. Right. You know? Surrounded by family, like I don't know if that like is easy to attain now that we have so much access to things like you said, you know? He's from this little town where like people were like...
But those are the happiest fucking people, bro.
You're from Puerto Rico, so you can relate to that. When I went to Puerto Rico, I met this little 57-year-old rock of a human being who's a tennis instructor who owned the little... It was like a bakery that we walked down from our Airbnb every morning to go eat at.
There's a bakery down there.
Dude, he like by the third morning, he's like, ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Quieren ver mi propiedad? And we're like, why not? Dude, he just we met his pit bulls, like he walked us around his big property, you know, and like this, you could tell this man was happy. Like this was his world, you know?
Right.
And like, is that attainable in a city? You know?
That's a good question. I think it's, man, the problem is when you live in a city, there's a lot of options.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You have
the conundrum of choice.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of choices that you need to make that will make you happy, I guess. Well, I have this will make me happy. Or if I have these many followers, this will make me happy. Or if I'm fucking, I don't know, I got this job, this will make me happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But when you reduce those options into, I have what I need.
Yeah.
And the rest is...
That guy had what he needed, man.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So are we the ones that are like, not saying you, but like in general, are we the ones that are wrong and wanting to just pursue this and live a life that's like in the city, fast life, or are they the ones? They're the ones that are right.
Who knows, man? And that's a good question because that wasn't where I was taking it.
Okay.
Right? That's hard to think of, right? Because I guess that comes down. That's kind of subjective.
Yeah.
What I'm referring to is
subjective. Yeah.
Is take your island for example.
Okay.
I feel like that lifestyle is disappearing.
It is.
because of the amount of people that are moving there and buying up properties, and not just people, corporations.
Yes.
You know, like.
Dude, 100% it's changing, yes.
Will the residential side of Puerto Rico still exist in 15 years, you know?
I don't know. Dude, they're trying to take away the public beaches.
Exactly.
Fucking put a hotel.
A lot of them have been covered up.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, you can't see the sun past 5 p.m. because of the shadow of some high rise, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely changes that are going in there. I mean, I get into politics and shit there too, but there's definitely a fleeting of people to want to populate the lifestyle that we're talking about that makes us happy, but as they come, they're also bringing other shit.
Yeah, man, a different culture, different beliefs. And I don't think that has much to do with politics. I really think that just has to do with the growth of mankind. Like, you know, like we're growing, like, man, like we just talked about how many people we know that have kids, right? Like,
right.
Like I mean, I could very well be wrong because you hear about this like deficit in population that we could be facing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, from my perspective, I feel like we're so crammed.
Dude, we're in a bubble. We're in a bubble with Hispanics.
Yeah.
So you know we're having kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, first world complaint, but I use this often to give you an idea. My old space, when we were in Pembroke Pines, at the time I had moved back in with my parents.
Okay.
Because they didn't want to stay in Pennsylvania either. So
that's fucking great, bro.
Yeah, I love that they came down here. They're so much happier.
So you have your family here too.
Yeah, I got my parents. I got free childcare. It's great. It's great. They only live 8 minutes away. It's great. But
it is.
At the time, I didn't know my fiance. This is 6 years ago. I didn't know my fiance, and we were living together in an apartment in Pembroke Pines. I'm 8 minutes from the gym. After the pandemic, with the rush of people, it turned into a 20-minute commute within a year. Think about that. And I know that's a first world complaint.
Yeah, but
it's not like it added miles.
Yeah. It's not like it grew.
Exactly.
It started stretching.
It just added people to just the traffic. Like, dude, it was insane, dude.
I get it why they want to, but people want to move here. And
I'm one of them. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm any different.
No. I get why people want to move here, and I don't have a problem with people moving here, but it's when you move to a place and you want to change the place into what you left.
Yeah, because they all, again, I guess that part is political. They all vote different. Yeah. I'm a hippie, bro. I don't believe in the system.
I mean, you're not wrong either, dude. Like all the shit that's popping up now that they're uncovering from years back, shit's getting wild, bro.
Dude, what?
So how did we not know about Epstein's fucking island? How did we not know there's a fucking island, dude?
Social media, bro. Like
how we found out about it?
Just the dissemination of information.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was much easier to just be blind to stuff like that before because you just turn the TV off.
That's true.
You know, or watch a different channel.
Yeah.
You know, but now it's like all over your feed. It's nothing else but that, you know? And it's like, I feel like that's one of the reasons why the big corporations were trying to ban certain, apps, because it's just like...
Well, if you own a corporation and, now... First of all, corporations, like large corporations, they're these holding companies, right?
Yeah,
I think Johnson & Johnson is one of those holding companies. Maybe there's one that's on top of it.
Yeah.
But if you look at the structure of their corporations, they have what they feed you, and then they have the news outlets as well, and they have others, because they can control the narrative.
Yep.
And if they control the narrative...
It all feeds back into just making money. I think it's BlackRock, Vanguard, and I forget the third one. But they pretty much own everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, I follow this dude now who's like, he's since... more become into politics.
Okay.
And I like listening to him with that as well. Like, it's interesting. But he started off with simply walking into a grocery store. His name's Ian Carroll. He just would walk into a grocery store and grab an item off of the shelf. And you would follow who owns this item. And it would just go right back to those big three corporations.
Yeah.
Like, down the funnel, it would just be them three again.
Dude, it's surprising if you look at I think it's Procter & Gamble I was talking about. I think Procter & Gamble owns Johnson & Johnson. But like those companies, I bet
you Vanguard or BlackRock owns them.
Really? Oh, you mean like a private equity?
Yeah, they're like a giant, like global conglomerate.
I thought that Procter & Gamble owned all their brands and stuff.
Nah, it's like they are owned. It's like, man, I wish I could remember the name of the other dude. He breaks down some young cat. He does like musicals, and you gotta like slow it down because they're all really fast on Instagram.
Yeah, 90 seconds.
But he puts like all the information, and you can verify it of who's owned by who. And
send me that, dude.
And it just gets like, it's this huge list of corporations, and it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's just all funneled back into one of those big three, dude. Like,
these players.
It's nuts, dude. Like, They own all media, like you said. They
traditional media, right?
Yeah, and it's nuts because I think he said like one of the last few companies that you can trust, I think, is what's that energy drink? Red Bull. They're
really?
like one of the few that doesn't have any ties to big corporations. They're not good for you, but they at least don't like feed back into the big machine.
They're not like a subsidiary of another company. Yeah, dude, I wouldn't even think Red Bull's terrible for you. So
exactly,
like,
right?
What do I do, bro?
That's so weird. But like, it's so many things, you know, like it's nuts. I'm gonna send you the Ian Carroll stuff. It's some of his older stuff.
Him, but
yeah, his name is Cancel Ian Carroll. Cancel Ian Carroll on.
I think I might follow him, dude. Yeah. Because what you were talking about when he was going back, what you just explained, right?
Yeah.
I kind of remember seeing that, but
that's what got him popular. Now he's like with like Candace Owens and stuff. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's in that realm, you know.
He's shifted.
Yeah. I mean, to each their own, you know.
Yeah, whatever. I'm a huge fan of letting people express their opinions.
100%.
As long as they're respectful.
Exactly.
You know? And I think that's social media too. Like, the right and left are always like back each other. But dude, if you sit down with somebody that's from the right or from the left and you have a different opinion, really.
Face to face, people are usually respectful.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Face to face, people are usually respectful.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good point.
like, and again, like social media has kind of disconnected us from that. And that's why it's real easy to just jump on like, fuck you, dude. You know, it's like, bro, like.
Yeah, I think that's you're right. That's face to face. It kind of makes you understand. Like, you have to be cordial, bro.
100%.
You can talk shit, but somebody will smack the fucking.
Exactly. Like, I used to have this argument. An ex of mine was like big into social media because she was like a life coach, right? And like, she viewed everything through that lens, you know, coach. of like, you know, your image on social media and everything is everything. The way people perceive you is everything. You know, like you have to like. You know, constantly put on this perfect image because like that's your social, I guess, what's the word for money?
Social values?
Yeah, like revenue.
Currency
is the word. Your social currency there. And I would say I disagree.
I do too.
I would totally disagree. Like, I think your genuine self is your social currency.
Right.
Like, you have to be who you really are. And if like you're a rude individual, if you're, you know, try to domineer people, like that's gonna get checked,
right?
As it should,
right?
And then you have to adjust that, and that makes you better for it, right?
100%, right?
And that's the way society should work. And she would be like, "Oh, by what? The threat of violence?" And I'm like, unfortunately,
but
at the most basic level of everything, that's what it comes down to.
It's tiered, right?
Yes.
Like maybe public perception will stop you from doing it, whatever the case may be. But at the very foundation. Dude, it's fucking threat of violence. We walk society with these norms or whatever, but those norms are in place by other people. But the reality is, it's.
What are laws? I wish I knew this philosopher's name. He said laws. I don't want to quote Marx's philosophy here. I think it is him, Karl Marx. But laws are nothing but the threat of violence. How else are they enforced at the most basic? Like that guy can bang his gavel all he wants and yell at you, but when you step out of line. What do the plaintiffs do? Right. Tackle your ass, like, right? Like
that's true.
Like, and at the end of the day, yes, we should not have to come down to that. I also agree with that point.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's necessary.
But you, by saying that point, are exactly demonstrating what society is. He's like, oh, but we're like the extreme that was jumped from, social, like what's important is you, is like, oh, what? By the threat of violence, that's what's keeping it in. It went all the way to extreme. But that proved your point exactly what you're trying to say.
Unfortunately, that's what it is. And we tend to try to like talk ourselves out of that by saying, well, society is in place to prevent that now. And I don't think that's the case. I think society is only existent because of that. Because we understand that without us caring about each other and following the rule of law, that's what we would devolve to.
Right.
It doesn't go away.
It doesn't.
It doesn't go away. Like,
I think if you put humans on an island, like rules are gonna come out anyways.
The Lord of the Flies is one of the most read books of all time. Like,
dude, but obviously I'd never seen well, actually there was something saying that something similar like that happened, like a Lord of the Flies situation happened
in real life, multiple times.
Oh yeah,
multiple times. It was probably one that was similar with kids on an island.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
But there was one with the dudes who crashed in the Alpine Mountains, I believe, on an airplane. It was the same thing. They ended up eating each other. Like, people lost at sea, you know? Like, it's the same scenario. Like,
yeah. Like if you take away the societal structure that we have, we will turn into.
Look at Haiti.
Yeah.
We don't even have to be hypothetical about it, you know, or movies or anything. Like, look at Haiti right now.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
Like
Haiti's going, like the gang's taking over, bro. It's getting wild.
And I think that's a great advertisement for martial arts. Like,
dude, it is.
You learn to defend yourself. You step into a room where the rule of law is violence, and the best versed in violence is the leader. Mm-hmm. You tend to realize, like, I'm not my job. I'm not my khakis.
You're not, dude.
Like, I'm not this like little name tag that says manager.
Yeah.
You know, that
it could be a nice name tag.
It could be. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't aspire to those things.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know, like we still live in society, but don't allow them to give you this perception that you are superior to your fellow man, you know? Even if you are the black belt, you're still not superior.
100%, yeah.
Because there's someone more violent than you.
Mm-hmm.
You still know that.
Yeah.
Like, it should teach you. I tend to tell my friends that, like, there's, like, this, like, big graph curve in your belief of you being able to fight. And when you don't know how to train, it is off the charts. And as soon as you become a blue belt, it just drops into the depths
Dude,
of,
the first day, bro.
Yeah. I mean, yes, as a white belt, you start to learn right away. I don't know how to fight, but you could still be, like, a little delusional, you know? Like, now I do jujitsu, I can fuck up that guy on the street, right? But as soon as you are well-versed in violence, you're like, I really don't know violence.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying, like, the white belt is can hide it behind an excuse. Like, I don't know jujitsu yet.
Exactly.
But when you get that blue belt, it's like, I know jujitsu.
And look how much I don't know.
Right.
You know?
If you have the right mindset, right?
Exactly. And then as you get the black belt, it starts to, right? But then it kind of like just tapers off.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, yeah, I know how to fight, but I still know there's people more dangerous than me.
Right.
Like,
you come to the understanding
exactly. Of it. Like, I'm the owner of an academy. I'm not a trained UFC fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, that guy's Hamza Shimiev is gonna hold me down and talk about my mom. Like, you get what I mean? You tend to be more humble about that, the better you get.
Right.
Because you realize the hard work that the real killers put in, you know?
Yeah.
And even if you hold that black belt and you take some time off, you're like, I'm not as dangerous as I was 2 months ago.
Oh, you feel it. Those 2 weeks back are like
100%.
Yeah.
People that don't train don't think that way.
You're also nicer to people when you understand.
Because of that.
Right, because of the threat of violence, what you're talking about.
I get in I haven't, let's circle way back. I haven't been in a fist fight since I was 17, since that day.
Okay, but has the opportunity presented
100%.
Yeah.
A million times.
Okay.
A million times.
Right.
I've been in verbal altercations a million times.
Okay.
You know, like, one time I'm in Tampa, some dude got in an argument with my ex-girlfriend, and I'm like, why are you calling her a bitch? I have no idea why they're arguing. I was throwing the cup out. I'm like, bro, what is happening? Like, you don't gotta say that. Like, you gotta apologize. He takes his shirt off. And I just laughed. I'm like,
right?
The shirtless guy, he's real. Like, and thank God.
You found one. Dude, that's like a Pokemon, bro.
Exactly.
You can keep it with you.
Thank God security, like, they literally did like a double take. They're like, shirtless dude, dress guy, tackle him. Like, and they took him out, you know?
It's solid deduction, though.
Had I, like, you know, try to, like, puff my chest out and joined in his energy, they would have tackled me too.
Right.
You know? But, like, I just don't, like, until you hit me.
Yeah.
I've had to subdue a couple guys.
Okay,
but like,
we're getting there. We're starting to see it.
But I've not been in like a full-on fist fight. You know, it's like in college a few times, some brawls break out with guys you know.
Yeah.
And I like full Nelson a guy, like, chill out, bro. Like,
right.
But never anything violent on my end, thank God.
Right.
You know, and I truly attribute it to that. It's like I know how bad this can get.
Yeah.
I want to be involved in that. You know.
Especially when you're training a lot, dude.
Yes.
You're training a lot, like you're also kind of fucking tired.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
everything
like
hurts.
Dude, I don't want to.
And I don't want this to happen in the street. Like, I get busted up in the street. Now I can't train in the gym. Like, you know.
It's so weird that, like, I mean, I guess not weird, but like the dissonance between you love to train fighting and somebody loves to train fighting.
Yeah.
But then they don't want to fight.
100%.
That's crazy how martial arts does that for you.
It really, I think it does that if you accept it as a martial artist. You get what I mean? Like, some guys want to be fighters.
Okay, kind of break that down for me a little bit.
I love Mike Perry.
Okay,
Mike Perry does not strike me as a martial artist.
Okay, now
you
I got
get
it.
what I mean? Like,
I got it.
Wonder Boy, Wonder Boy's a martial artist.
Right.
Wonder Boy's not gonna get in a brawl in the street.
No.
He's gonna,
you know what I mean?
He's gonna smile and shake that hand and try to be his friend.
Right.
Mike Perry's gonna headbutt him. They're like,
for sure. For sure, that's gonna happen.
Exactly what I mean. You know, like there's the martial artist, and it's like I'm a dangerous man. I don't need to prove it to nobody. Like I love what I do. I want to fight other dangerous individuals, you know? And then there's the fighter that's just like, I want violence. Like,
I guess it is a mentality too, man.
Agreed. And this isn't superiority. I'm not saying one's better than the other, right? Like, if being a fighter, I'm sure Mike Perry's a very happy guy. You know, like, he's more paid than me. Like,
of course, he's happy.
I'm not judging him, you know?
No, I get you.
I would rather be Wonder Boy, the martial artist. That's just the way I want to live my life, you know? Like, that brings me peace.
Right.
You know, like I'm not better than you. I'm not tougher than you.
Do you think that's subjective though? Like what?
100%.
What it is to be a martial artist?
I think. Oh, what it is to be a martial artist?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so because some.
But do you think there's like core concepts that would be across the board for anybody that could consider them a martial artist? You know what I mean? Like what if Mike Perry said like I'm a martial artist? There's got to be something in that we could be like this is not because of this.
I think if you are a big fan of like Eastern martial arts, that would answer that question for you, right? Like if you read the Book of Bushido, or you know, like it tells you like you have a duty to something, and like you live your life in a way that is conducive to that duty. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense, dude.
I feel like guys like Mike Perry just don't give a fuck. Like, and again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not talking shit about Mike Perry.
No, dude.
I just think like he might be much more of a free spirit. Like, you know, maybe I'm wrong about him. Maybe that's a persona, you know?
Dude, maybe it has to, like what you said in terms of duty, and then you're kind of like dedicated to that duty, but also there's a kind of a structure.
Yes. Yeah, that duty gives you a structure. I have the Bushido code tatted on me for that reason. Like it's like dutiful loyalty is one of them.
Okay.
You know, and I live my life by that. Like I'm not loyal to things that I don't feel are worth being loyal to, you know? Yeah. And my martial arts lifestyle where I want to be healthy enough to train, and I want to set an example to my students that if you live, if you train this way and live this way, you can be good at this.
Yeah.
You know, I want to inspire them in that regard, and now my son even more so.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's the life of a martial artist, you know?
Yeah. Because everything you're doing is kind of like encapsulating yourself into this martial arts realm. You know,
exactly.
Every choice that you're making is so that you can be either a better martial artist, a better teacher, obviously a better father.
And that makes you a better person, exactly. Right. Yeah, right. And I learned that from my dad straight up. Like, even though my dad stopped doing Kung Fu maybe 30 years ago, he had a motorcycle accident that fucked his leg up.
Yeah.
He still lives his life that way. You know, that never left him. Like, he still, till this day, like references Kenzo Yamamoto, his instructor. Like that was his mentor.
Name, dude.
Yeah, right? Yeah, like that guy sounds like a mythical character.
He's gonna walk on walls.
I always wondered if that guy was made up, but like that's I do that as his son.
Bro, it sounds like soy sauce to me, but it's good. It's good.
That man, if he was real, he was straight from Japan. He moved to the Dominican Republic, opened up an academy.
Dude, you know that's normal, like the Japanese going to the Caribbean?
Yes, it's a very common thing.
Judo?
Especially in that era.
Yeah.
My dad grew up during the regime of Trujillo.
Okay.
Was a dictator in Dominican Republic.
Okay.
Evil human being, piece of shit.
Fuck, so you went through a dictatorship.
Yeah, but that guy did open up a lot of visas to foreigners because he had a very simple thinking, like who's good with money? You use your stereotypical thinking to answer that. Who's good with cars?
Whoever wants to answer will answer it.
Yeah, who's good with technology? And he's
Fill
like,
the blanks.
give him a visa. So there's a lot of Japanese people on the island, a lot of Jewish people on the island, a lot of German people on the island that came in that era because he wanted engineers, he wanted, bankers, he wanted...
Simple thinking, but he was trying to do something.
Exactly, right. Exactly. And they, they're third generation now.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. You see these I'm sure the same thing in Puerto Rico.
Bro, I'm waiting for it, yeah.
They're like, they can't roll their R. And they're like, cajo. And you're like, wait this is levels of like a Japanese with a Puerto Rican accent.
It happens all the time. I had friends that looked Chinese.
Yeah.
We used to call them Chino, like Chino. But they would speak perfect Spanish.
There's a guy in Orlando. There's a guy in Orlando. I think his name is, it's something sushi. Papi Sushi.
Uh-huh.
He's Dominican as fuck, and he has a sushi spot. And it's really popular.
It's probably dope.
Dude, he does like fusion with sweet
plantain.
That's
what I'm saying,
yeah.
Could you imagine a sweet plantain
It's
roll,
so
bro?
weird seeing him on social media, like, hermano, que lo que, it's like, yo, and there's a spot
it's a mine.
in Patterson, New Jersey named Goodies.
Okay.
Some of the best Dominican food you'll ever eat.
Dude, where's good? Okay, I know it's not jiu-jitsu related, but I wanted to ask them. Do you have like a good? Well, not here in Miami, probably.
In Miami?
A Dominican place.
El Conuquito.
El Conuquito?
El Conuquito.
Where's that
in
by?
North Miami.
Okay.
It's in the hood.
I mean,
But man, the food is
Caribbean,
good.
right?
Yeah. The food is amazing, bro. Food is amazing.
All right. So man, we actually went a little bit over, but I want to talk about your preparation for main character. This has been a great conversation.
Oh hell yeah.
So the one thing that I really wanted to cover was you haven't competed in a minute, right?
Last time I competed was what's the name of that tournament?
White Lion?
No. Heath the ref runs it.
Oh really?
Yeah. Dang, what is the name of his tournament?
So you're doing main character jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
But it's been a while since you competed, or you've competed like in the last year?
No, yeah, it was less than a year. It was less.
Okay.
It's been like I want to say like 10 months or so. It's been almost a year, maybe a year now or so.
That's still a while to take off.
Yeah, my son was already born because he was there, so it's been less than a year.
All right.
Yeah.
How you feeling for this one?
I feel good, man. I feel good. Like I had to take a step back from competing. Like it was,
Obviously so.
It was rough getting ready for that last one.
Right.
I wish I could remember the name. Shout out to Heath. He's awesome. I fought some young Brazilian kid, and I heel hooked him, and it was awesome because
I couldn't find this.
It's on my Instagram. It's on my Instagram.
I was on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sure he put it up, man. Dang, what is the name of that competition?
I'll look it up.
Anyway, point being, you turned 35. And
I just turned 35.
Yeah, you get in your head, bro. You get in your head, and you're like, "Is it time for me to go to the Masters division? Like, should I stop thinking that like these lofty competition goals are still viable? So it felt good to go against a younger guy. Yeah. This kid was like 26 or so.
Oh, so you were like riding high.
And I demolished him. Like I just ran right through him, and it felt good, man. Like so, but then it was rough on my fiance at the time. Of course. Because I had to tell her like I gotta sleep, like I have to sleep.
I gotta train.
And so that I can train,
Right.
So she took on the brunt of the baby. Yeah. And we're barely out of the thick of it because he was like 3 months at the time. So we're barely out of the thick of it, and she's sacrificing herself so that I can do what I gotta do to get ready for the fight. Thankfully, I won. Yeah. And I did ADCC right. It was right around the time of ADCC as well.
Dude, that was September. Right?
Yeah, that ADCC showing wasn't
in July. I think.
It wasn't my best.
I didn't find those. I found the ones that you did with White Lion. I think I found another one that you did, the finisher one, but that's way old.
Yeah, the finishers ones are older.
Yeah, but
the most recent one's on my Instagram.
I gotta find it.
But point being, this time around, it's easier because my son's a little older. He's sleeping better. So we didn't really have to like make a switch or anything like that, and I was able to really get back into the routine of things, training hard.
And you got hitters at your gym, so that's great.
I got some killers at the gym, so I was really working with my guys, and also like since I'm older, I've been involved in a million camps. Like I'm much more intelligent in my training now, so I would like really focus on my strength and conditioning. My cardio feels great. Like I'm in the best shape I've ever been, and I'm 35. So
that's wild.
Yeah, it's all about your intelligence, like your the way that you eat. Obviously, my fiance is very fitness oriented, so she's been a big help in the diet.
That's great too, bro.
Yeah, honestly that's the biggest one. Like I quit drinking altogether. I wasn't already drinking a lot, I was social events and stuff, but I quit drinking altogether because she doesn't drink at all, so we just don't do it. And
there's no beer in the fridge or anything like that.
Surprise, surprise, my cardio is way better. Like, I know there's no injuries now. Like, it's crazy.
Inflammation's gone down. I don't know why.
Yeah,
everything's great.
Alcohol's poison, dude.
It is.
Yeah, so that helps a lot, So yeah, that's basically the deal. Having Anthony back in town, has helped a lot.
Yeah,
you know, because
he's going to PFG.
Yeah, PGF,
the draft,
Professional
right?
Graphic Federation.
Right?
Yeah, he's gonna murder it.
Dude, I love that. Another 10th Planet guy. That's his rule set. That's Mac. I always forget Mac. What's his last name?
Damn, I'm gonna brain fart it.
It's McCarran.
B-Mac.
B-Mac.
Yeah, Brandon McCarran.
That's the way. Yeah, Brandon McCarran.
Yeah,
that
B-Mac.
rule set. I love that rule set. I love how it's like, oh, it's a kill.
Yeah, shout out to B-Mac. He's the man.
It's a great. Dude, I didn't get to talk about like, fuck. I want to talk about you. I know you trained with Eddie for a little bit, right?
Yeah. So in the time that, you know, right out of high school when I met Zach, into like my college career and all of that, we were going to LA. We were going to LA and, you know, spending weeks at a time just in the room with the guys who all went on to open up their own, like Ray runs 10 Planet NYC. Okay. He was always in the room with us. You know, all these other killers that all have their own academies now throughout the West Coast.
I think the brothers too were there. That's when you're in college for like you're 35, so you were in college in 2008, 2007.
Yeah, 08 to 2012.
2012. So that's about around the time when the two brothers.
Yeah, Gio and Boogie. It's funny, I got pictures with them. Then they look young as shit. I look like a fucking baby. I got no facial hair.
How was that first day like for you? Was it a rude awakening, or were you kind of already settled?
When
you trained over there?
When I trained in LA? Oh no. First time I went out there, I was like, yeah, levels are different. Because the jiu-jitsu culture was real quiet in PA still, you know? Yeah. Like it was more like the grungy MMA type. It wasn't jiu-jitsu.
Do jiu-jitsu to do MMA.
Exactly. That was the first time I got a taste of jiu-jitsu. Like, and it was different. It was different. I mean, it was different, you know? Like we would go for like a week and like train 2 days, Monday through Thursday. And by like Thursday afternoon, people look around like, we're gonna skip tonight, right? Like thank God you said that. Yes, we're going home.
I was thinking you said it first, so I'm gonna go with you. We're good.
Because you can't even fucking move, like. Because Eddie puts you through the ringer, man.
Yeah.
Eddie, like, you know, it's a great time to talk about the ecological and the traditional approach. Yeah, like, dude, that's been around forever.
Yeah.
They just gave it a name.
Yeah.
You know,
it's been around.
And it's great marketing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't invented by which person.
No,
you know?
I think if anybody's claiming, I don't even think Greg is claiming that he created it.
Yeah.
But I think he put the labels on it and applied it for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he definitely put the labels on it. And we can give him that credit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember back in the day, like we would do both, and that's the way I run my classes. You know, we drill the warm-ups. And then it would be the swamp walks. Eddie calls them swamp walks. Like,
that's a great name.
Yeah, where we would start in position.
Planning on their names, damn it, bro.
But he call it swamp or chest hair day. That's another name. Chest hair day. Those are the names he'd give for the ecological portion of class, where it's like, you know, he gives them literally just by the name, we know where we're going with it because we learned it from Eddie. But it's literally like you would start in a triangle with your partner postured, and that's the restriction, you know, where like your partner has to either get both arms back in or escape, and you have to try to finish the triangle.
It's fun, dude. It's funny you say it because a lot of the good gyms that are known for their competitors, I've always said, yeah, we do that.
We do both.
We do both of them.
I think they're necessary. Everyone learns differently. There's definitely always going to be guys that be like, drilling doesn't work for me, and guys are going to say the ecological doesn't work for me.
And I think that's a big point of it too.
Yes.
The individuality of jiu-jitsu is also important because people learn differently, you know what I mean?
We're dogmatic as hell as a species. Like, we will always like find an ideology and just become a zealot for it, you know? Like I did with 10 Planet. Like I walked into Daniel Gracie's day one with a 10 Planet shirt on, and one of his black belts was like, "Take that off," and I'm thinking he's joking.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, because he's big. His name, shout out to Hodger. We became friends.
Hodger Gracie?
No, not Hodger Gracie.
Okay.
Another Brazil. I don't remember his last name. He moved back to Brazil. Big bald guy. He was hilarious, but he was dead serious. And I'm like,
dude, but that's the time that Eddie was like really breaking the scene.
And they were like, he hates the gi. Eddie does not hate the gi.
No.
Eddie does not hate the gi.
I think he said, I mean, you know him.
He got his black belt in the gi.
Yeah. From John Jock.
Yes. Shout out to John Jock Machado.
You also trained with him too, right?
I did. I'm very lucky I got to train with John Jock.
I got to cut off, but is there any way we can schedule an online one?
100%,
and
bro.
continue with this?
I would love
That'd
to.
Be fucking great.
I would fucking love to.
Because I had some things I wanted to cover, but we went really deep in a great conversation.
Hell yeah.
I told